All right, let's start with our first question. If I'm snowed in and can't run, what exercises can I do to stay in shape? Okay, so if you can't run at all because you live in Antarctica or something like that, the next best thing is to mimic exactly what you would be doing outside on the roads or on the trails inside. So you can do this a few different ways. You can do a lot of pool running, you can do indoor cycling or spinning, or you can use the elliptical. Those are three of my favorite cross-training exercises for runners. They mimic the specific demands of running without having you actually be outside and run. So if you're doing, let's say, 20 miles a week outside at a 10-minute per mile pace, you're running for 200 minutes per week. You want to also exercise inside for 200 minutes per week. And if you're doing this, you're going to maintain a relatively similar level of aerobic conditioning or your endurance that you would if you were running outside. Now, there's a really important caveat here. If all you're doing is cycling or pool running or even the elliptical, these are cycling and pool running are zero impact and non-load bearing exercises. So you're not, when you're in the pool or when you're on the bike, you're not actually holding yourself up with your legs, okay? On the bike you're sitting, and on the pool you're buoyant. The water is holding you up. Now when you're using the elliptical, you're holding yourself up, obviously, because you're standing, but there's no impact, okay? And so if you do this all winter and then you're still in pretty decent shape and then you go outside and start running again, this is the classic, your engine is more powerful than your chassis, okay? So your endurance is much more powerful than your structural ability to withstand the pounding and the impact that you can do because you're in aerobically very good shape. So there's a really great way that you can counteract this. And what you can do is do a lot of strength training. Now, if you've been following strength running for a while, you know that I am bullish on strength training. It is perhaps one of the most beneficial forms of cross-training for runners. And cross-training is usually considered a supplemental type of exercise. It's done in addition to your normal training. I don't think of it that way. I think of strength training as an integral component to your training. So it is not something that's done in addition to, it's just part of your training overall. So you should be doing it anyway, but if you can't run outside in the winter and you're doing a lot of cycling or pool running and other types of aerobic cross training that don't challenge your legs from an impact perspective the same way that running does, you really have to do a lot of strength training. And you know, the body weight, core, and strength exercises that I use with my runners, this is going to be very helpful for you, but I would also recommend getting in the weight room and doing some more heavy types of weightlifting, squats, deadlifts, weighted lunges. These are all fantastic exercises that are going to make your transition to outdoor running a lot more easier for you. Now, of course, with all that said, get some good running gear and get outside. I don't care if I've coached runners in Canada, I've coached runners through winters in Sweden. These are very, very cold places, but with the proper gear and attire, you can get it done. Next best thing, you can always invest in a treadmill. Now, there's actually a lot more information on this topic in the full article about winter running on strengthrunning.com. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, click on underneath this video back to the Strength Running website, and you can read even more helpful advice on how you can make the most of your winter running. And of course, if you want to see any kind of running question that you have answered on the show, just tweet it to me on Twitter. My handle is JasonFitz1, and use the hashtag RunQuestion so that I can find it. Thanks again.